Welcome back, everybody. I got some great news for you guys today. So I got an email from Purple Lamp Studios earlier saying that they checked out my 14-hour stream of the THQ Nordic reveal along with their Q&A for the Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated when they showed off the game and we got to ask them questions in their chat and so forth. On my stream, I had a restream of this content. Of course, they gave me permission. I asked for permission. They allowed me to do it. They allowed me to restream their stream, and my chat was talking about it in there. We were commenting on some of the additions they made, some of the changes they made, and so forth, to start giving our opinions on. You guys probably already saw this. This was I think it was called the community reactions video, and there was also the one before that, which was the analysis video. I can link both of those in the description when I'm done talking here. So pretty much they reached out and they said that it gave them a huge morale boost and they were really excited to continue working on the game with the feedback from the community. And they said they were also grateful for me asking you guys to reach out and talk to them. This is actually the Twitch community I'm talking about. I still haven't mentioned this to you guys yet, but I'll address it later in this video, how you can reach out to Purple Lamp and give them your feedback on the remake. So they reached out and they said all positive things about what we're doing here and how we're reacting to this whole Rehydrated remake thing. But what they also said is that they were sad that I couldn't come to Gamescom, because I did mention in the stream that I wanted to go, but of course it was pretty poorly planned and I had the stream as well, so all that stuff kind of got in the way. Very short notice travel plans, of course, they usually follow through. But they did, however, say that they'd like me to fly out to their game studio and try their game, and have a chat with them as well. So that'll be happening sometime in October. I'm super excited about this offer. We're going to see if we can work it out. And it works out for me perfectly because September, as you guys know, is a big event on Twitch where we give away subs and their sub discounts. So I got to be here for the whole month for that. But in October, it's going to be a nice, the fall time. People are in school. People are taking midterms. It'd be the perfect time to fly out and do this offer that they're giving me. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I guess we'll see how that goes. I'll let you guys know what's happening with that if you subscribe. I'll post more news on this whole development as it's going on. But to get back to my point earlier about the feedback part, is that a lot of people have been sending feedback to Purple Lamp, positive and constructive criticism as well, on what they think of the gameplay they showed off and their philosophy on creating games, which, by the way, I personally love. They've talked so much about reimagining a game based on how when they view it as a child. You guys already saw, we were on the same page when we did the restream. How I was saying before they even said that it's kind of cool, imagining a remaster of a game that when you're a kid you think of it so much higher, but then when you're an adult you go back to it and you're like, oh, this wasn't as good. The same thing happened to me with some of the other games I played when I was a kid, like The Incredibles and the movie game. When I went back and I'm like, I'm really excited to play these games, they didn't look as good as I remembered, and they brought that same point immediately after I brought it up. So it seems that we're one for one on the same page of the right way about going about this remake, and they know, they're very confident, they're competent, they know exactly what they're doing, and they're definitely the right people for the job. So I was excited to hear their philosophy on bringing a game back from the past, not painting a mustache on the Mona Lisa per se, but updating it for modern times so more people can enjoy it in a new way. Of course, there are some disputes I have with some of the design choices. For example, we brought up changing the camera to make it automatic. Of course, we see they've talked about making the game a little bit easier for kids to play, but I think there should still be an option to disable stuff like that for the people who, the veterans, people who played it before, and of course the more passionate community that's going to be playing it every day for months on end. So stuff like that, just small things that can obviously be tweaked a little bit to make both parties happy, can be something that we could talk about as well. But these are all things I can bring up when we go over there to have a chat and play the game as well. I'm really excited to do this, and there are a bunch of small things I could bring up that could hopefully give them more of a perspective on how the competitive community feels about it. Because I definitely don't want them to think that the speedrunners just want the game to be as glitchy as possible, just to make it as fun as possible, per se. We don't necessarily need glitches to have fun. There are plenty of speedruns that don't have glitches that are still fun. that's not exactly what it is. Like, it's not about beating the game as fast as possible. It's more about having fun while you're playing the game. It doesn't matter how long it is. Doesn't matter how short it is. It's like stuff like that. I want to clear some of that up just so they know that like any of the suggestions and recommendations and ideas that we have as a community that's focused on this game for years and years and years, like we're doing it all in good taste. We don't want the game to be like purposefully glitchy. We just want the game to be fun for us to play every single day on the way forward. Because I do want it to be a sensation on Twitch. I want this game to have a lot of pull for really passionate gamers who want to take it to the next level, and people who are just casual players and want to play it for fun. That's the formula for making an amazing game that lasts for a very long time. If you look at Mario 64, like that game has some of the most fun mechanics of all time, and it's garnered up a modding community, a speedrunning community. All these things they've been alive for years and years and years. So I really want to see that going forward for Rehydrated, because it has a new chance to be reborn into something just like that if we do it the right way. So I'm excited to work with Purple Lamp. I'm excited to talk with them and give them some feedback. Here's some of their feedback as well on some of our ideas. And again, they already said they're really excited about getting the feedback, and they were really thankful that I told you guys to get them the feedback. So to the YouTube community that I haven't talked to yet, I'm going to leave a link in the description about contacting Purple Lamp Studios. I think I kind of mentioned it in one of the videos I uploaded, but it was still like a Twitch re-upload, so it wasn't exactly like a direct address. But you guys got to tell Purple Lamp what you think. I just want to address some of the comments that I found to be pretty off the mark when I was talking about this on my stream, and of course in my YouTube comments as well. Just so you guys understand like where we are, like so we can get on the same page for this whole feedback and response thing from Purple Lamp. One of the most common comments I've seen on my videos is that it's only in pre-alpha, so there's no reason to criticize it. That's actually not true. If a game is in pre-alpha, this is the best time to criticize some of the small things that can be, redone, or give the feedback on some of the things that need a little bit of changing, some of the things that are good as well. You should tell them that some of the things that you like about it, so when in the process of changing things, they don't accidentally remove things you like about it. So again, in pre-alpha, this is a time when the game is most open to being made changes to. So if you want to give them that kind of feedback that's going to be most effective, and they probably appreciate it the most, as they've already said, to get that kind of feedback now in this development process of alpha, you should probably let them know now. And they already said they do appreciate it. Another thing that I've read is also, if you don't like the new game, don't play it. Play the original, kind of sort of passive-aggressive thing. Okay, well, what we're saying is that we want to play the new game. We want to enjoy it just as much as the original on a competitive level and a casual level. So we're not like complaining about the game in its current form. We're just saying that there are some things that need to be fixed a little bit so we can enjoy it as much as the original, because we want it to be an amazing game. Like these people who say things like that don't understand that we care just as much about this game as the development studio does in that regard. We want the game to be amazing and really wow the people who revisit it and all the people who are going to be playing this game for the first time on newer consoles. This is a big opportunity for people to get an amazing first impression of Battle for Bikini Bottom. And again, a lot of streamers who are experienced in competitive games and speedrunning and so forth are going to be playing this game, and their first impression of the movement is going to be critical to their reception of the game. They're going to be talking about the game on their stream to their viewers, and if people get like the impression that the movement's like kind of clunky, it's not going to sit well with their viewers, and it's not going to be as big and as loved as possible. So that's the thing, is we want the game to be as amazing as possible, and by people who have played the game for thousands of hours, not just me, giving feedback on how the movement's supposed to feel, by doing that, we're helping the studio that probably just started this project a little over a year ago. We're helping fill them in on some of the stuff that we've discovered and some of the more finer tuned things that we've worked on over the past several years, to kind of update them, and we can give some feedback back and forth to like how we feel the game should be played, along with their perception of how the game should look. Another thing you should note is that the developers at Purple Lamp Studios are not mind readers. They can't just tell what you're thinking and what you think should be changed in the game, or what you like about it, what you don't like about it. You can't assume that they're going to figure out what you think should be changed. You have to tell them. You have to communicate. And considering they are so grateful for this communication, it shows that they do want feedback from the people who have played it for a very long time, who want to know, they want to know how it's supposed to feel, what they think the smaller things should be changed and so forth. They said they were surprised by a lot of the things that you guys brought up. So that just goes to show that they are excited to get your feedback, and they are taking the criticism very seriously, and they're aware that they don't know everything there is to know about the game. That's the most important thing. Because remember, we're not middle school guys. If someone criticizes your science project, they're not bullying you, they're not being mean to you. If someone criticizes your project, it means they probably care about it. It's not dismissing it, saying, "Oh, this game sucks, this game's bad, I'm not gonna buy it." Like, that's just being an asshole. But when you criticize something and try to build it up and give constructive criticism on it and be positive about it and respectful, you're showing that not only you care about the game, but you also want to see it get better. You want to help make the project better. You want to get that feedback, because remember, these are people just like we are. We all want to see this game succeed, all of us. And in the age of the internet, where we have the ability to give that kind of feedback and go back and forth with the people who make these things that we end up playing and consuming, it's important that we remember that we are also a part of this project too, as people who have studied and invested so much time in this game over the years. We have the responsibility to make this game great, just like they do. These are all positive things. These are all constructive criticisms that we're trying to put out here. We're not trying to be mean, or we're not hating the game or anything like that. Like I've said many times, to be respectful as possible and give that feedback, because they keep asking for it. And they, again, like, not only on the stream, but also in this email, they've showed that they are grateful that we're giving them this feedback. So you guys definitely should. If you want to make that difference and, let them know like what you feel about the trailer you watched, any questions you have, things like that, they're still accepting emails. You got to tell them, listen, go to my description right now, check out the Purple Lamp Studios link. You guys can go there and send them a quick message. Tell them how you feel about the new game, things you like, things you don't like, things you want to see. I would just say, though, keep your emails restricted and confined to their philosophy on how to build games. And by that I mean, when they say they don't want to paint a mustache on the Mona Lisa, if you ask them to put Squidward as a playable character in the game, they're not going to do that, because it's changing the original game too much off of what it already was. They already said they want to make a one-for-one copy of the game, to the extent where they're going to confirm they're adding Patrick's Dream and Squidward's Squidward boss fight robot thing, and they're going to add them as separate things from the base game. They're going to lead that one-for-one. So that's very important to go forward, not to ask them for things that, like power-ups and upgrade moves like from the movie game. Those things are not going to get added to the game, because they've already said, they want to keep it one-for-one with the original. However, what can be added is anything from the original game that you think should be preserved or kept or enhanced or so forth. Like, you can ask for those things. I don't want to flood them with emails about Squidward being playable, because they've already said they're not going to do that. But one thing that is on the table is any type of movement mechanic, or even, I guess, an exploit that you think would make the game more fun for you to play. And by that, I'm obviously referencing cruise boosting. One of the things I mentioned was debated to be added to the game or not. So the key word there is debate. And considering the CEO is a fan of speedrunning, it seems like there was a discussion and back and forth between the CEO and maybe some people who agreed or disagreed, and they came to the conclusion that they don't want to purposely make the game glitchy, on the basis that they don't want to make the game intrusive to casual play. They don't want to make the cruise boosting mechanic intrusive to casual players. And while I 100% agree that intrusive mechanics should not be added to a game, like, for example, disabling the hand. Disabling the hand is something you can just go on Google and search and do in 2 seconds if you wanted to, and it pretty much ruins the entire game. You can just skip everything if you wanted to. It makes speedrunning amazing, but it makes the base game worse. But cruise boosting is not an example of that, because if you implement it one-for-one from the original, it takes more time than it takes to beat the entire game casually, to master it and be able to use it. And even so, you still have to use it, more than once to be able to use it in more than one area. So, and again, also, you don't even get to use it until you have yourself beaten halfway through the game anyway. You got to have 41 spatulas out of 77 for beating the base game to even use the mechanic in the first place. So something like that would not be harmful to casual play, especially if you don't know that it exists. As some kind of an Easter egg, that's something that would not be intrusive to casual play. There are things that would be, like being able to glide across big gaps that you're not supposed to with Sandy. Things like that can be easily fixed by adding more hand barriers where you get grabbed by the hand. That stuff should be fixed, but I think personally that if something does not intrude on casual play, and it's more fun for people who play, not just speedrunners, but people in general, do enjoy cruise boosting for fun, fans of the game, people who have found the tutorials on YouTube, do this stuff for fun, even if they don't want to do a full run of the game. I still think it's important to keep stuff like that in the game to help to keep the spirit of it alive. So those are just my thoughts on, like things that you can mention to Purple Lamp, things that you shouldn't mention, things that, like whatever you really want to see in the remake, you can tell them all your thoughts. Just letting you know, like, they're not going to add anything to the game that wasn't originally in it, because they said they don't want to taint the game from what it originally was. But anything that was in the original game is fair game. So be sure to leave that feedback for them. I'll let you guys know in the coming, I guess, weeks or so, my talks with Purple Lamp and what we're gonna try to get more information out to you guys about that as well. One of the things that they mentioned, I got off track because I was thinking about, there's one thing I forgot to mention, is that they said they're going to issue a statement with THQ Nordic soon about some of the concerns that were brought up with the game. So they're going to try to address all those questions in some kind of a direct kind of thing where they talk about Rehydrated. They know how big of a deal this is. They know that this is like their flagship product that is going to probably set the tone for THQ Nordic and Purple Lamp Studios in the years coming forward. This is going to determine whether we're going to get new SpongeBob games. And the reason why I'm really excited about this is because if they nail the movement in this game 1-for-1 with the original, they can totally like make a newer game or remake an older game with the same mechanics and engine. And if it feels just like the original, like even though it probably won't be 1-for-1, if it's close at least, if it's still really fun to play, I'm really excited to see what kind of SpongeBob games they can reproduce with this later. This could be the beginning of like new SpongeBob games. And like, again, like, you know how Mario, like every 3D Mario title is always a popular speedrun. It's always fun to play, and people always like they dive deep into it, and they break it and try to find ways to beat it faster. Like, it's that motivation exists for every Mario game because the base mechanics lend itself so well to speedrunning. Something like that could be huge for this game, because if it just sets up a next line of SpongeBob games that have the same fun mechanics, like you can see SpongeBob become that kind of a sensation where people just speedrun game after game, and that could be really awesome to see. So what are your thoughts on this with the whole speedrunning situation, the casual play situation? How can we balance both of them? What are some things that you'd like me to bring up with Purple Lamp? Well, because I am in direct contact with the CEO now, I'm going to try to go back and forth with some talk about the game and so forth. Not sure what they're willing to talk about yet, but the guy seems pretty chill and down to earth. So whatever you guys have some thoughts on him, I'll be glad to bring it up if the time is right. So talk to me about that in the comments section. Another thing too is tonight on my stream, I'm going to have a podcast with some friends who were in the call during the Rehydrated reveal, and along with another person that I know who is a game developer himself who works with Unreal Engine 4, which if you guys don't know is the engine that they're making Rehydrated on. And we're going to watch some of the gameplay footage that we saw a little while back and speculate how they implemented some of the mechanics, which things we think are just like placeholders, which things need to be more polished and so forth. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk about that. And of course, this whole thing is going to come up as a topic as well. So it's going to be a fun stream. We're aiming for 7 p.m. tonight for that. We're going to show some clips of the game. We're going to talk about it for a pretty long time. And then after that, we're going to do some good old speed runs. So if you want to stay updated on my talks with Purple Lamp Studios and perhaps see more gameplay footage of the original for now while we wait for the new one, subscribe to my channel, and I'll let you guys know what's happening in the future. See you next time.